All right, and welcome back to episode 032 of the OK podcast powered by the Strength Co. I'm your host, Grant Broggi, coming to you live from the beautiful upstate of South Carolina, as hot as it's ever been. I mean, it's scorching out there.
I avoided the outdoors.
Yeah, so did my wife. If you're pregnant, if you're 6 months pregnant, and it's, what was it today, 92?
It was more than I counted.
But it's a wet heat.
Oh, dude.
Yeah,
welcome to the South.
Not to be confused with the dry heat. It is hot. We are broadcasting live, kind of futuristic. Today is, what is today? My watch is upstairs. It's August the 2nd. We're in a new month. Jack White's No Name record dropped today for digital release. Yesterday it dropped in vinyl. We tried very hard to get it in Nashville as well as in London. I had people in both places trying to get it, and it was just too difficult, so we didn't get it on vinyl, the limited release blue vinyl, but we did get it pre-ordered because we're big Jack White fans around here. But yeah, today's August 2nd. You're going to be listening to this a week from today on August 9th. Somebody decided they want to get married, messes with the whole schedule.
My bad.
Yeah, no, it's all good. So we're recording a few days early. We got a guest night, going to be super cool. We'll get to that in a minute.
Jiu Jitsu.
Yeah, Jiu Jitsu. BJJ. For all you BJJ guys that usually turn it off when we start talking about, I don't know, whatever we start talking about, stay tuned because we're basically going to talk to John Danaher.
Basically.
Dude,
he's huge.
Same. Yeah,
he's huge.
Big dude. But yeah, we're in the beautiful upstate of South Carolina. Block Heights 855-141. If you haven't figured it out, we got PJ here in studio.
What's up?
It's Friday night. The Olympics are going on.
Are they? I haven't even watched, dude.
You have been watching beach volleyball?
Nah, dude.
Every 4 years, every guy in X tweets best sport ever.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
I've seen clips on X.
Yeah. Olympics going on. Simone Biles won a bunch of golds.
Remember when she quit that one time because she had like mental health issues?
But she's back. Did you see her one-liner against Trump?
I love like black. This is my black job.
Yeah,
I love my
so
black
like
job.
Trump was like with the black reporters and said some things that were, I don't know, whatever. But he said she asked them, like they were trying to like pigeonhole him, and they said something about like black jobs.
Yeah,
and they're like, "What's a black job?" And he's like, "It's any job." Which I kind of think is fair. Like any job is any color's job.
Yeah.
But in any event, I did think like her comeback was really good.
Oh, it was a good zinger, as they say.
Yeah, a zinger.
Well, it was like on one hand, because he was saying like, you know, I've done the best for black unemployment, black jobs, black like whatever. And it's like on one hand, it just in my soul, it does sound a little weird to hear black jobs. I do get like that's a little weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
On the other hand, we do say like black colleges.
White collar.
White collar. We say black unemployment.
Yeah, we do.
So it's like, I don't think it's crazy.
Yeah.
I think people are just finding something to
I
yell
just
about.
thought it was a good, I don't know her at all. I just
singer.
remember she quit.
Yeah.
I don't mean that as a knock, but I just mean that's like
I do a little bit.
The only reason but the only reason I remember her name is because of that event.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I said last week, I don't really follow that. Like I'm not anti-Olympics.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's a phenom. She's up there with like Michael Phelps level.
Allegedly.
Not in terms
heard
of height,
of her.
but just in terms of medals.
Yeah. Although Kevin Durant said that he thinks she could dunk a basketball.
You know, with those muscle fibers, she might.
Yeah. And in the event, I saw it and I was like, that's good.
I bet her vertical's like 30 inches or something.
Yeah, it's probably something really good.
Yeah.
Standing vertical jump. Sign of athleticism.
I've never measured mine.
I have, and I can't remember what I am, but it's not good, but it's not low IQ.
It was like upper 20s. Did you hit 30?
No, I didn't hit 30. I honestly don't even want to say because someone will be like,
just say it was like 42.
No, I think it was upper 20s, but we did it at a starting strength seminar one time.
Really?
We had this girl come in. She was like 2% body fat. She was super fit. She was super strong. She had never lifted before.
Whoa.
And Ripito always gives the like standing vertical jump.
Is that in the seminar?
Well, yeah. In the seminar, he talks about like what is strength, force production. Yep. And then he like goes on about like how you can't teach genetics.
You can't change T. You can only change. Yeah.
Yep. And he's like the best indicator for a natural athlete is the standing vertical jump, because you can't improve it. Like you either have it or you don't. And the best coaches, and like there's like 6 caveats to the best coaches.
It's the whole explosiveness conversation.
But like all of that is, you can't teach it and people have it. And so in any event, they never do the standing vertical jump. And so one day I said to him, I was like, Rip, let's do the standing vertical jump at lunch.
Yeah.
Like everyone breaks for lunch. Like we have a freak here.
Yeah.
So whatever it was, and I'm going to downplay it. Hopefully my standing vertical jump was higher, but she was 25. I was 26. She was 26. I was 27. Like I barely beat her. She was very good, and she's a female.
Oh, so that was really good for her.
Really good for her. Oh, it was like whatever it was. And it might've been 22, 23. I'm not standing on any kind of false pretenses here. Whatever it was, I beat her by an inch.
That's significant.
Yeah, it was. That's
like my press being 5 pounds better than Nova's.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's a knock on me.
Yeah. If you didn't listen to last week's podcast, now it's aired. First Lieutenant Nova Award from Scotland. Dual citizenship. Don't worry. She's still a Marine. Mm-hmm. Artillery officer. She talked about her training, her fitness, and she's a freak. If you want to get jacked, she's more jacked than me. You should call her.
You should.
Yeah. Novasky.com. I should buy that domain just in case she pops off. Yeah. I'll sell it to her later.
Yeah.
This will be a test if she listens to the next episode, or if she was just like, oh, this is my shot. But anyway, price of Bitcoin is 61. Whoa, it plummeted. What happened? Whoa. It was like 65 like 10 minutes ago.
Well, everything's crashing right now. I think
everything's
just
crashing.
Selling. Yeah. I got a random question today.
Oh.
I think this would be a good short little.
Like you have a random question for me, or you received a random question?
In a rare event, I actually received a random fitness question.
Okay.
Now, I don't know just as much as you why I was asked a fitness question.
Yeah.
But I was.
There you go.
A guy, not an old guy, but a guy I used to work with a while ago. Kind of when I was first starting doing video.
Sure. Miami.
Nope, this was actually in Indiana.
Oh,
this is way back in the day.
Like a church or something.
Yeah, and he's seen that like I've been lifting weights. When I was working with him, I was probably 30 pounds skinnier. He's seen like the whole transformation of me going from super skinny to just extremely normal.
It's like almost a man.
To nearly a male. And he asked me, he's like, hey man, random question. I got cast in a play to play Gaston in Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
And I'm trying to bulk up.
Should I know who that is?
He's the bad guy. Or not the bad guy, but one of the kind of.
So he's not the Beast.
Not the Beast, but he's like the big, strong, like gallant man that's trying to, So he's like, but I want to bulk up for this role.
Yeah.
You bulked up. How did you do it? And he was asking me that.
And you were like, everyone on the OK podcast thinks my bulk's not over.
I was like, if you ask them, I'm still pre-bulk.
Yeah, you're pre-bulk.
I'm pre-bulk.
Yeah, you're just getting started.
I'm just getting started. But 30 pounds plus is significant.
It's a lot, yeah.
And so I told him just a basic answer. I was like, I'm no expert, but this is what I did. What would you answer him with? Like, hey, I'm just looking to bulk up for a role. I've got 3.5 months.
Okay. Does age matter? Does body fat matter?
He's 40 years old. Body fat doesn't matter.
Oh, interesting. So he just wants to look really big.
Yeah. I would say he's not fat. He's not skinny, just not out of shape, just a normal looking dad.
How tall is he?
6'4".
Oh, what's he weigh?
Probably if I had to guess, 220, 30.
He's skinny.
Little thin.
Yeah. He's thin. He's thin. I don't know. If I had a 6'4" guy, 210 that needed to do a roll and get to 250 and his body fat didn't matter. At 40, I probably wouldn't put him on a gallon of milk a day, but I would put him on starting strength, basic, novice, linear progression, add weight. And I would just tell him anytime that he starts to feel beat up, eat more. So generally people come to me and they're like, hey, I want to get stronger. I don't want to gain weight because they're already overweight. Western society, that tends to be how it goes. But I would just say like, hey, if you want to gain 30 pounds, 20 pounds, whatever it is, food is the easiest recovery metric. So start lifting, learn to do the lifts, add 5 pounds, probably have to add 2.5 on your squat and in your bench and your press pretty soon. But then the minute that you start to feel like, man, stuff hurts, I would just say increase caloric consumption. And
add 2 glasses of whole milk.
Yeah, it could be whole milk. It could be peanut butter. It could be pizza. Like if he really doesn't care. And that's the thing. Like if he's 6'4", 220, he's not fat right now. We could definitely make him fat if we tried hard enough. But like if he just increases caloric consumption, do you know what he does for a workout right now?
No, I think he probably does some light working out, like goes to the gym.
Okay. Recreation.
Yeah. And to put it in perspective, I haven't seen him shirtless in a long time, but I don't think he has abs.
Do you usually see him shirtless?
Not in a while.
Anything you need to tell
It's been
us?
a while.
Okay. It's been a while.
I'm not a jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that later. Yeah, I would just say use calories as the throttle. And obviously he can do this intelligently. Like if you eat even rice, like super glycemic, carbohydrate, high starch, whatever.
Easy to digest.
Easy to digest though. But if you just kicked up your rice intake and your chicken intake when you started to feel fatigued, it'd be great. The problem is usually as people lift, they don't plan and they go eat cheeseburgers. But if I want to go to 220 to 250, I don't know Gaston, but
his name's Terry, but he's playing a part.
No, of Gaston.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Beauty and the Beast. Yeah. So, I mean, if I just needed to look like, whoa, a big person just walked in, I'd probably tell him not to worry about what he's eating. Just lift and do it. And because he's an actor, he probably will have a role later to be, I don't know, Napoleon Dynamite, and he'll be super skinny. And he probably knows Gaston. He's looking he's got small legs though. That's like Gaston not on starting strength.
Right.
Yeah, that's a small Gaston.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I think I just tell him squat, bench, deadlift. I mean, I love the overhead press, but squat, bench, deadlift with a caloric overload and adding weight each time.
Not just surplus, overload.
Yeah, overload. Yeah, words mean things. Overload and adding weight each time, you will get bigger. Yeah. Like if you need to look bigger, you will definitely get bigger. If you tell me that later down the road, not Grant's problem, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, dude. Milk's not for everybody. I mean, it's for a lot of people, but I'd increase milk. I think peanut butter is great. I think more eggs is great. Full fat stuff that your body can actually use to build muscle is good. Yeah, no, it's great. Gaston.
Yeah, Gaston.
So you take a before and after?
He should. I'll tell him.
You should tell him. Before and after.
Before and after.
Yeah, we need that. Let's see. We just recorded 3 days ago. Anything happen?
Not much happened. Did my workout. Went well. Actually felt like this was not I wouldn't call it easy, but it wasn't grinding me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is good. It's a crunch time for me. I'm 2 weeks out from a big reception party, then traveling the next week and then getting married.
Are you trying to get in super good shape before the wedding? Or do you consider yourself in super good shape? Or I'm whatever
good.
Will be, will be.
Whatever will be, will be.
You don't want to be burdened by what has been.
I want to not let what can be. No, I want to see. I'm not worried about seeing what can be unburdened by what has been.
There you go. That's what I was looking for. Yeah. Yes. Not to be unburdened by what could be.
I'll be burdened by what has been. Yeah. That's fine.
What has been will be unburdened.
Yes. Yeah. No, it'll be burdened.
Oh, it'll be burdened.
It'll be burdened. Yeah. I'm not trying to get shredded for my honeymoon. Not at all. Actually, now I'm just worried about not worried, but hey, I need to fit in my suit.
Oh yeah. Because you think you're too big or you think you're too small?
Well, I just feel like I can't go much either direction.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just had it fitted.
I just had it fitted.
Okay. What are we? 2 weeks away?
2
weeks from tomorrow.
2 weeks from
tomorrow.
3 weeks from tomorrow.
What's the date?
No, sorry. 2 weeks from tomorrow.
2 weeks from tomorrow. Yeah.
2 weeks
you got a registry?
Yeah.
What's the URL? The strength.co/PJ. We can redirect it there.
It's just the strength.co/store.
Oh, /store. Yeah. No, thanks.
Yeah.
But do you have a registry?
We do. Kate's been in charge of that. She'll have to send
Can you put in the show notes?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you like PJ and you want him to live forever and have the things he needs and get to 200 pounds, look in the show notes. Hop on his registry. Who knows? Maybe you can buy him a pair of 35s.
There you go.
You never know.
Toss me $5 for a gallon of milk.
Love it. Let's see.
Can I make one more comment?
Yeah.
I know I've played around with gaining weight before and bulking.
Yeah.
I do think.
Can I make a comment before you make your comment?
Yeah.
So I was on the Spotify app today getting links, and I was like, oh, people have been commenting on the show.
Oh.
And I didn't realize. So if you've been commenting on the show, thanks. If you haven't commented on the show, go to Spotify, go to YouTube.
You got to do it.
Go to Instagram, comment on it. We're going to reply back because I replied to all 5 comments today.
Every single one.
But someone was like, and it was from like 3 months ago, like, I'm not listening to this podcast again until he's 200 pounds.
No way.
And I was like, wow, we let that die a long time ago.
We did.
So
but
people do care.
People care. So maybe they'll be excited about this. And I'm not just saying this now because I've been a little like worried about the wedding and like I don't want to get too much bulk.
You don't want to look too much like a man.
Not too much like a man.
Yeah, you gotta just ride the line.
I'm gonna get be like a chubby Asian bunny, you know, if I get too much. But I am thinking day after my honeymoon, that is the single best time in my life
to bulk,
to just get fat.
Oh yeah.
It'll never be a better time.
You locked her in, and she's in.
And she's told me multiple times, she may be a little crazy for this. And I think this is too far. She said, dude, if you're 220, I think that's fine.
I think 242.
242?
Yeah, 242. You'd be a hell of a 242.
Is that a fake comment? Is that a joke, or is that like an actual opinion?
It's not my actual
opinion. Okay.
I think 200 is your cap, personally.
200
You never even hit it. What are you, 185,
186?
Yeah, I think if you hit 200, you'll be a chubby Asian bunny.
Yep.
And then you'll have to like stay at 200 and manage it to where it looks good. I think 200 is good. But if your wife likes you 220, even better.
I'm thinking.
It doesn't matter what I think.
I'm thinking I hit in the twos, at least get in there.
Okay.
200 to 210, somewhere in there.
I like it.
And I just see like, dude, I got to get a 500-pound deadlift.
Yeah.
I got to get a 405 squat.
If you're chasing numbers and you're going to compete in a strength coast singlet, I approve 220.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No. So here's the deal. No, joking aside.
No.
If you are competing and you're like, hey, I want to hit this number and this number matters to me, and you're actually going to train hard and hit the number.
Like, I'll get as big as I need to be and train as hard as I need to be.
Do it. If you're missing one workout a week, but you're eating like you're missing none, and you blow up to 210, and I'm not saying you, I'm saying like people that do this program, then like I have a problem with that.
Right.
Because now it's like, well, you're using the excuse for eating for your training, but you're not doing your training.
Right.
But if you're doing your training and you're like, I want to deadlift 500 pounds and go to 220, I'll tell you this. I think you at 220 is miserable.
I think I have sleep apnea. I think I can't move.
Your
can't
pants
breathe,
don't fit. You have to buy Strength Co shirts extra large.
Oh yeah. I'm 5'8". So
yeah, that's going to be big.
That's big.
Yeah. But if you're doing it for a reason, I have no problems with it.
Yeah. My
problem is people that eat like they're going to deadlift 500 pounds and then deadlift 330.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
That's an excuse.
Yeah. That's just like,
I'm thinking, doesn't matter how fat I get now. I'm going to have a home gym at that point. No better time in my life to do it. I think I get kind of fat.
Yeah.
And I get real strong.
There you go. And then you cut.
And
we make a video. There we go.
I'm just doing this for the Strength Co YouTube.
I mean, that's what it's all about. We put Nova up there in her bikini with her abs and her biceps popping. Doesn't seem like people like it so far.
No, maybe not, but they did with Placido. So, hey, I'm on board. Actually, I didn't even realize this. I'm on board to like do a before and after like experiment.
Yeah, you should. Yeah.
We can do like a long-term play video.
I love it.
All right.
I love it. All right. Should we let these guys in here?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Oh, well, yeah, let's just watch Man on Fire. And do like a watch along. Hey, they don't play that song in North America anymore.
Oh, sorry. I was just singing a song with no name.
Oh, wait, that album's good.
032?
032.
Episode 032 of the
Okay.
Okay.
Guidons.
Okay.
Podcast powered by the Strength Co. We got the co-host on here. We got big Mr. Robert Gottlich III, Texas A&M grad, excited for his first year in the SEC. I mean, no, sorry, I was thinking Texas. My bad. We have Jeff Buege from Utah, and we have PJ. And we're recording on a Friday night because we have so many things to do with our life that we're like, let's do this.
It's pretty sweet.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah, no, Fritz.
Hey, what do you say? And it turns out we don't have any friends.
That's right.
Well,
That's what they say.
Little change of the lyrics there.
The original lyrics, yeah.
Friday, August 2nd. 15
Verified.
days from now, PJ will be married.
No.
Verified.
Mazel tov.
Yeah, Muzzle Toff. The Olympics is going on.
Halfway
We
done.
got a guest. Yeah, we got a guest tonight. Actually, Trey, why don't you give us an Olympics update? It's like an amateur lifting update, but an amateur Olympics fan.
Yeah,
update.
have you won
So-
any medals yet?
I have not.
Personally.
What's your medal count?
What I watched, dude. So track started today, yesterday. I can't remember. That's
big track guy.
I do like that.
when it comes to Summer Olympics, I like that probably the best. But I watched some dude today. It was the third medal in the 10K the U.S. has ever won, and the first one since
Oh,
like
wow.
1959. He got a bronze, so that was pretty cool.
I thought you were gonna say you watched some dude beat a woman in boxing, but then you just went a different way with it.
Oh.
Did they figure out? Is it a woman?
Oh, yeah. There was some controversy with that.
A lot.
There was a lot.
So I haven't been watching the Olympics, and like my feed just filled up with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I've
it.
seen a bunch
I
of
got
posts
like
about
both
it.
sides of it, you know.
I
Apparently, the chromosomes is XY.
Does that mean he's a man?
don't know.
That's the male pattern chromosome.
Okay. Sorry, homeschooled over here.
Schooled. But
You don't know your
All I
own
know
chromosomes. You don't check them every morning.
yeah, what's
I'm
up,
always
Nick?
popping the hood, checking my chromosomes, making sure I still got them all.
Trying to find out when I'm Delta.
Yeah.
Yeah, XY is the male. XX is gonna be your daughter, and if you throw an extra one in there, that's where you get a little problem.
XYY.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, anyway, people were fired up about that.
Yeah, I don't know.
It makes sense.
I didn't watch that.
I didn't watch
sure.
it either. I just watched.
I'm not much of a boxing
there's
person, so yeah.
There's a rapper that Ibos likes. I'm forgetting his name, and he tweeted, "Bro just committed domestic violence and got a medal for it." And I was like, "Wow, that's a tweet."
It's pretty good.
That's a post. It's X these days.
It's a post.
Ooh, it's
I
a
will say it
post.
was like the edge cases of edge cases, because if you are XY but you have some disorder that makes you like basically
XX.
appear and kind of develop a little bit like female, I'm like, I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
There's the rules were not prepared for this.
Or the devil's advocate here, or the girl
Oh.
just got beat up so badly, she just goes, "That's a dude. It has to be."
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
It's gotta be.
She got smoked. So
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah.
She was done. Actually, props to her for quitting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, just no.
Is that-
I actually
as
think
as
that.
a coach, is that what you tell your? So you-
Yeah,
you tell your
props to
lifters.
her. She was like,
You
she
know
was
what?
like,
Great job
she was
bailing
like,
out on that fifth rep.
Fifth rep is different because that means you got the first four. She got hit by a dude and was like, "Yeah, I'm out. I'm out."
You don't tell
That's
her
like
to
if you
grind,
put-
you don't tell her to grind it
You
out.
unrack the bar and you're like, nah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get my fives back.
That's like if you put 100 pounds over your PR on your back,
Yeah.
you walk it out, you go, nah, dude, this ain't happening.
So-
But
like that.
track
But anyway.
starts. Track started.
yeah,
on a different
track.
note.
Back to track.
Back to track, and I'm excited.
remember
I
what-
love-
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
I
I
was
was
gonna
saying
say-
what roughly that 10K time was that got the bronze. Like what time domain are we talking for this Olympic 10K?
Dude, it was low 20s. I can't remember. Let me see.
Is that Zulu time?
Yeah, low 20s.
Okay, good.
Yeah, Zulu.
10K.
Jeff got my joke. I mean, what's a five? No way. What's a
No,
5K?
it's gotta be
a
like-
5K
it's gotta be
that
like low
Jeff and I
30s.
run. Yeah, 5K that Jeff and I run is what, 25 minutes?
Oh no, we're like 15 minutes, dude. We're so fast.
Oh yeah, no, that's you're right. Never mind.
No, yeah, I'm like, I don't know, 22 ish.
Men's 10,000 meter final.
10,000 meters.
10,000 meters. Is that the same? Yeah, that's 10K.
10K.
Yeah, sorry. Math for Marines in public.
Not 10
the
clicks, you
world
mean 10
records-
clicks.
10 clicks. 10 click run.
So the American third place ran at 26:43.
Okay.
Oh.
Woo. That's booking it.
Yo.
How much did he weigh? I bet he was 200 pounds.
Dude, he was surprisingly, he was wearing a strength coach shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
I
Yeah.
think he was
Had a
around
mustache.
230.
The squat tee. It was a squat tee.
Yeah, I was wearing the squat.
He had a mustache. The
yeah.
back of his tee said okay.
Yeah,
My boy-
and
my
he was
boy's-
singing Jack
My
White.
boy's itty bitty. He was itty bitty.
He had AirPods in, listening to the podcast.
One guy did have a
Can we
Garmin,
talk-
and he started his Garmin.
I love it. Can we talk about the Jack White album for a minute?
Dude, it's good.
You got to.
Is it a new one?
It's good. And I'm not, No Name came out today on digital. So Jeff and I tried to get it on vinyl yesterday. I actually tried to get my London friends to get it for me over there too. Same story. Third Man Records, lines around the block.
I didn't.
You didn't know anything about it, Trey?
No, I didn't.
to-
I haven't listened to it yet.
Today, the vinyl got released at like select independent record stores. And so
I
I
bought
like
it.
checked the map to see like, all right, what's close to me? And there was one down in Provo, Utah. It's like an hour away. But so I was like, all right, that's not happening.
I bought it and they were like, we hope to ship by the end of September was the Third Man Records or something. And they said something also like, if you ordered anything else, then it'll just ship when this ships. And I just thought that was so funny
Like,
because
it's a scam.
we have an email when people buy like a 465 pound set and we're like, hey, in order to keep shipping costs low, we ship from multiple warehouses. Your plates may arrive on different days. Please give it 3 to 5 days before emailing customer service. And everyone's like, I got 645s and 125. Where's the rest of my plates? And I'm like, I didn't email Jack White. I just took him at his word. I saw him riding in that 15 passenger van. I'm like, that guy's not lying to me.
But was it? What was
Yeah, it's
the?
good.
Did you buy an expensive one on duty that one time?
Yeah.
That's good.
I bought it's red. It has thing about my doorbell. It was limited release. It was about, I'll just say it. Usually I don't disclose. It was about $200 on eBay. I was in a bidding war.
I bet it hasn't depreciated.
Devils
Get
something.
behind me, Satan.
Get behind. See, Jeff just speaks Grant so
True-
fluently.
true
I
fan.
say devil. He's like, get behind me, Satan. Yeah, get behind me, Satan. Great album. And I play it because I'm the kind of guy that's like, if I owned
Use it.
a Civil War musket, I'd shoot it. If I owned Get Behind Me, Satan, I'm playing it. I'm not like a collector's item. Like I play that thing. And good album. Nice. So I really wanted the blue one. Didn't get it. I ordered the release today. I think I've heard all songs by now, but I'm about 5 songs deep into the album of actually like listening to the words. Yeah. And it's like, this is good. Also, Jack White's going religious.
A little bit.
He's got that
like
Bless
5
Up
songs.
song. He's singing about the walls of Jericho. Like he's
Hey,
turn it on.
I just
It's
looked
a good
up the value of Get Behind Me Satan limited edition,
how much?
$225. So
That's what I'm saying.
You can't afford not to.
Oh my gosh.
Go to the
I was
moon,
hoping
baby.
Trey was about to just
To the moon.
drop a
Where's your Jack
$3
White
million.
clock? Yeah.
We need a Jack White
we need a
clock.
Jack White clock.
Yeah.
Jack White
Oh
clock.
my gosh, that would be good.
No way.
$30 million.
$30 million?
Yeah. Did you know that if you hide your album inside a leather couch, it increases the value by 300%?
Facts.
If you don't get that joke, go back and listen to episode 2
Yeah.
of the OK podcast. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Olympics update. Trey, what about lifting update?
Okay.
Next slide.
All right. Short and sweet,
Next
baby.
slide.
Hadn't happened?
Nah, yeah, man. We had a busy couple days, so
Hey,
Not a shame game. Was just curious. So it's been what, a week?
let me see. Last one I got in was on Tuesday. Today's Friday.
okay.
No, it's not that bad.
So,
Yeah, you're
I
good.
can still get it on the weekend. I get to.
Yeah.
So,
Keep it in that 7-day window and you're good.
Yeah.
that's all. Yeah,
Nice. Proud of you.
All right. How the girls doing?
they're doing good, man. They're talking a lot. I think did I send you a video?
Whoa.
Yes, you did. And you sent me photos and I love them all.
Yeah. So they're chatty Cathys, that's for sure. So talking to each other, talking to inanimate objects. They're pretty entertaining. Yeah, they're making me laugh.
When did they start getting mobile? I don't know anything about babies. I've
Fair
never
enough.
had
I
one
didn't
to my
either.
knowledge. Yeah. So
And then I got two.
Then I
then
got
you
two.
got two. When is like they become mobile?
10 months?
I would say 10 months.
I know it's a range, right? I know. Okay,
Yeah, so
10.
like right now, like they just started kind of rolling over on their own.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which I
But
feel
your
like
kids are from South Sudan, athletes, so it's probably going to be like 7 months.
7.
yeah.
Let's
Well,
be honest.
South Sudan basketball team got smoked by the USA.
Yeah, I love this country, but I got to tell you, I was actually eating lunch with BW. Shout out to our sponsor.
BW.
Good guy.
BW. We invited PJ, couldn't make it. BW was like, "You need the lights on? I'll keep them on. Let me take you to lunch." Took me to lunch, and we show up at 2:55, and he's like, "LeBron's playing South Sudan," and I was like, "Hey, Big Trey from the podcast, his girls are from there."
Oh yeah.
And he was like, "I don't want to sound unpatriotic, but like I hate LeBron because I'm a Celtics fan, big Boston guy, if you don't know, BW." And he was like, "I'm kind of pulling for South Sudan." And then we watched like 5 minutes. We're like, "Yep, they're not gonna win."
Oh no.
They played that friendly, and that's the one where they almost won it that time. It didn't matter, but it was pretty exciting.
early on, yeah.
Yeah.
But
LeBron had like score
they got their
layup
first
at the
win.
end.
Yeah, they got their first win in the Olympics though, so it was
Are
pretty
they
exciting.
still in?
I don't think so. Actually, I don't know.
So
I
do
don't know if it's knockout rounds.
all these Olympic sports, like people will tell you the Olympics last, 16 days, 2 weeks. Let's just
Something
call it
like
2
that, yeah.
weeks.
Okay.
But like, do all the sports span 2 weeks?
No.
Because like, for
No.
example, rugby was like, "Welcome to the Olympics. It's the finals." And I was like, "Wait, what?" Like, and I'm talking men's rugby. I know the women's last a few more days, but like, so most of them, like, is Simone done? Simone
Wiles?
She might
Yeah.
have some sometimes they do like
yeah,
individual. I know she did the all around individual, but then they might do like individual, I don't know, uneven bars. And then they'll do like routine on that. I don't know. I feel like that's a thing.
But is basketball over
No,
or is it still going?
they're still playing. And there's 3-on-3 basketball.
It's a long game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually pretty fun to watch. I watched the Polish people beat us.
USA beat China today. I did watch that.
Oh, USA.
Nice.
USA.
China.
I like
That's the one. That's what I'm going to say. China.
That one. Yeah.
Yeah.
China. Hey, China wasn't going to be unburdened by what has been.
China.
No, never. Never.
But yeah,
We call them the Chinese team because they come from China.
I don't know. As far as Olympic updates go, I think that's about it.
That's about it.
All right.
Oh, Katie Ledecky. That girl.
Oh, yeah. I watched that.
She's fun to watch.
Machine.
She's the Michael
Yeah.
Phelps.
Wait, who is that?
She-
I missed this
She's
completely.
the female Michael
Females-
Phelps.
Yeah.
Female Michael Phelps. Okay,
Just-
Michelle Phelps.
Dominant.
Okay.
Careful.
Michael Phelps,
you could make a
the
political
the male
joke.
Katie
Don't make it.
Ledecky.
I didn't
don't
mean
know.
to.
Yeah.
Maybe that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, she was good. She crushed it. I mean, so actually it was a good time, I guess. 3 p.m. on a Tuesday or Wednesday is a good time to go to lunch with BW because we saw
I've always said
the
that.
3-on-3 game against the Poles.
Yeah.
We saw LeBron and co smoke the Sudans, and then we saw Ledecky, and she won. So whatever, let's say the time was 12 seconds. Let's say it's 15 seconds, but let me like talk to you in like real people. I just had a potato for dinner. She was touching the end and the other people weren't on the same length.
Whoa.
Like way ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Way ahead.
So, smoked him.
Smoked him.
Whoa.
That was, what was that? I think it's 1,500 meters.
Yeah, it was a long one.
Yeah.
That's
It was-
surprising. That never happens. It's usually like hundredths of a second.
Because the pool is down and back is 50, right?
Down is 50.
Oh, yeah, 50.
So down and back's 100. So
Correct,
it's
yeah.
15 circuits. Yeah. So
That's
it was
a
a
long
long
way.
one. Yeah.
Oh,
and she
lot,
crushed him. Crushed him. Yeah.
Dude.
Whew.
That's rare to see that big of a gap, I feel like.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what she does.
That girl's
It's kind of been,
unreal,
like,
man. She's been doing it
especially in
since.
those distance ones. You just like full lengths of the pool, like will win, and like you don't even see the other swimmers in the frame when she's like finishing. You're like, oh,
Yeah. So
Dominant.
has she always done that?
Yeah. She's been pretty
Okay,
dominant
so, like-
for a long time.
Yeah.
In that
so
distance.
So 4 years ago, she did the same thing.
Yeah. And I think 8 years
Yep.
ago did the
Yep.
same
Yeah.
thing.
Okay. It's kind of like the
Dang.
Gamecocks in the SEC championship.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Smoking it. Yeah.
All right. Should be on the podcast next week.
Hey, we got a
Kayla
Gamecock
Ledecky?
coming up soon.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah,
We should get her on.
We'll get her on.
We'll get her on.
Any slides before our guest comes on? He's probably like any minute now. He
Okay,
should be
okay.
here now, but he's
So I
not.
find a good quick one here.
A little quick slide.
Hmm.
Just a quad slide. Hey, sir. Nothing really to brief except you have 6 Marines in jail.
Any questions? Just standing by, sir, for your guidance.
My favorite slides.
Trey had a good one talking about how so in the military, or I guess it's probably like Department of Defense wide, the fiscal year ends in September, right? And kind of like any other fiscal year, whether it's corporate world, whether it's government side, there's a big push to spend all the money you've got before the end of that fiscal year so you don't get your funds cut for the next year. So similar
Yes.
thing goes for ammunition in the military, where it's like, hey, we said we needed 50,000 rounds of 7.62 machine gun ammo. And if we don't shoot all this ammo next year, they're going to go, hey, you didn't use that last year, so you're going to get 25,000 for the year or whatever it is. And so Trey wanted to talk about how fun it is at the end of the fiscal year when you got to shoot all the ammo so you can get more, the same or
August
more
is a
the next
party.
year.
September.
September's a party.
September's a party.
I've never
September.
wasted so much money so quickly than just going
Yeah.
to like a heavy.
Serve Mart.
Oh, dude, just going to the range, heavy weapons range, and just
Yeah.
shooting as many 50 cals. Just,
What's the most fun thing for you to shoot?
I like the 240. I think the 240 is a blast.
I do too. I love
Oh, I don't even know what that is.
240 Golf, it's
7.6.
7.62.
7.62.
Okay.
It's heavy machine.
Like
gun.
machine gun.
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Heavy machine gun.
But it's like the 50 cal's super cool. But like the 7.62, if you're basically a trained Marine, you can get on it
Yeah.
and dump ammo. Whereas
Just dump ammo.
like the 50 cal, I'm not saying it takes a genius to operate.
You gotta
Like,
do the
have to know a
timing
little-
and the
Yeah, there's like
headspace
just
and timing.
Wing it.
it's like driving a manual
Okay.
versus like hopping an automatic. And
Yeah,
the 7.62, you're like, hey, numbnuts, come here, Lance Corporal. Make the big dogs eat. And like they just dumps it out.
Oh,
It's great.
I love shooting.
How is
machine
it? I've never shot a machine gun.
Yeah.
I have a dumb question. This is my job
Love
on the
it.
OK
Yeah.
podcast.
Dumb
Ask
question.
dumb Marine
Okay.
questions.
guns. Okay.
So it feels like I've shot semi-auto,
Okay.
but I have never shot automatic.
Okay.
How's the aiming while you're doing that? Like, how's that go?
I think it depends on what you're shooting. A lot of times it starts to rise on you a little bit.
A rise. Okay. Oh, that makes sense.
So you just got to kind
Need
of
to get
make
Fight-
sure you're
fight
watching
it.
that. Yeah. Luckily you have the
What
tracers.
about left? What about left to right? Could you?
Not as much.
I haven't had
Yeah,
that.
it's really like
It's-
kind of the dispersion is like along the gun target line. So like the direction
Okay.
you're shooting, right, it's going to kind of fall either long or short. Because a lot of times you have it like on a tripod, so you try to get it
I
as
was gonna ask,
stable
is
as
it mounted?
possible.
Oh, yeah.
should be
In most
It's
cases,
okay. Okay.
you can
okay.
shoot off a bipod. You can shoot with it, what they call it, free gunning or like standing. And that's
Just
more of like
holding it.
you're not really very accurate at all in that case.
You're
but it's
Rambo.
what it looks
Rambo.
cool
Unless
for
they're
Instagram.
Arnold. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I didn't know if it's mounted, so that helps.
So you actually have an A gunner too.
What's
And
that?
So you're
assistant
down
gunner.
behind the gun, and you have an assistant that's like spotting.
Oh,
So
got
you
it.
actually
Okay.
like an automatic in the movies. People just like hit go and go forever. That'll actually overheat the barrel. So
Do you like bursts?
in the Marine Corps, we call it talking guns.
Okay.
So like you have you want two 240s,
Yeah.
and so like I'm like, brrrr, and then I
Then they
stop, and then like before my last round left my chamber, Jeff started.
They're starting.
And then my A gunner's like down, whatever. And you have a thing called T&E, traverse and elevation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's like you're left and right, and you're up and down.
Yeah.
So like, let's say you're shooting at a tank.
Yeah.
They're going to be like down 4, right 2. And so why Jeff's shooting, because if you just like keep suppressive fire, then
Mhm.
the enemy can't shoot back. I'm making adjustments. And then
While
like,
they're going. So
Yeah.
you need two.
yeah,
And you want to find the
well,
sweet
I mean,
spot.
you don't,
As far
You
as
don't
you don't
need
want
to,
to shoot
but
too short.
You want to.
So like you
Yeah.
don't want if you just like do it like hold it down barely and let go, like you get jams. So you want to find like a sweet spot. So if you hold too long, it starts overheating. If you don't hold them down long enough, it jams. So you just kind of
Oh, so if you fire like 5 rounds, it'll jam.
5 rounds isn't enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm not an 03, but which is an infantryman, but like, yeah, you know, you're shooting 10 to 30.
Oh, okay.
Like you're putting some rounds down range. Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
Is this mounted to the back of? Is this like again stupid?
No.
Is this on the
That's
ground? Is this on a vehicle?
both.
Is this in a helicopter? I
So
don't know.
you got
Yeah,
so
all
the Marine
three.
Corps you have to get trained.
Sick.
At least in the artillery, I feel like there's like a training you get signed off. You do a mounted, like vehicle mounted weapon shoot, and then you do just on the ground. You have to get trained in both of those annually. Supposed to,
Okay. Okay.
according to
Yeah, so it
McTin.
gives-
And they'll shoot them
Yeah.
off of helicopters also, like if like a UH-1 Huey. So it's kind of like a utility helicopter, like the one you always see flying missions in like Vietnam movies with like the side doors. So those guys
Yeah.
will have a different model of the 240, but they can have that mounted on there and they'll shoot those off the door. So those are like a little more,
That looks fun.
yeah, a little, I don't know if inaccurate is how to say, but like there's a little more dispersion in those fires in some cases.
Dispersion.
In some cases.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's like if you're on the ground, like shooting a range for training, it's mounted on a tripod. And if you're shooting a vehicular training thing, then it's mounted on a vehicle.
Oh, okay.
But like you could be a reservist like me, where like we have all these tripod or we have all these 240s and we bring them like because like potatoes roll downhill. Like you're down in the reserves and you don't have the mounts. So it's like, hey, I would put this vehicle down here looking at this road, but the potato hasn't rolled to me, so I can't physically mount it to the vehicle. So now I have to take the gun and like make a guy dig a hole.
Yeah.
But which is like also like, hey, real life, if you
Yeah.
don't have the mount or the mount breaks, like
Sure.
you have to do that. But like, yeah, usually it should be in an ideal situation where Jocko Wilnick wakes up at 0330.
Yeah.
We have a mount. Yeah.
That's
Worst
very
case,
good.
you're
It's
just
very Marine
holding
Corps.
it. and
Yeah,
pr-
worst
and-
case, just saying.
You're
Yeah,
just praying.
Because
Yeah.
like
I
on
remember-
the
Spraying and praying.
on like the infantry side, right? So like if they're a lot of times dismounted, walking around in a squad to like, 12 to 13 Marines, and they may have a machine like a 240 gunner like attached to them. And that guy's just
Yep.
walking around. And so it might be like, oh, they get ambushed. It has a bipod on it. So like little legs that come out of like the front.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of like a hasty thing real quick. If you like all of a sudden just get in an ambush or a firefight, like they've got those to kind of have kind of a more stable platform than just like standing and holding it like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Free gunning, baby.
I want that guy around. Whoever's holding that guy, he's a nice guy to have
But
around, right?
the biggest part when they talk about Marine Corps training that Jeff and I liked and Trey is, they talk talking guns.
Yeah.
Meaning one gun's not going.
Sure.
It's like,
It's like a conversation.
Yeah, and they go back and forth, and then like whenever talking guns get going, someone will go, "Let the big dogs eat," and that's the best. That's the
Without-
best part of being a Marine,
without fail.
Well, we got
without fail. Let the big dogs eat.
a big dog trying to get in this
Yeah,
conversation.
let me let this guy in here.
My man.
No Spanish speakers here, but welcome to the podcast. My cousin, BJJ legend, Uki for John Danaher, John. But I just put him together.
Don
Like
Danaher.
Don Juan. I just want to call him Don Juan. John Danaher. What would you say you work for? BJJ Fanatics, or like what's the main brand there?
Yeah, BJJ Fanatics is the name of the company. And you should definitely practice that intro a little bit more, Grant.
Yeah.
No, we like to do it. We like
We do it live. No, this is Grant style.
Yeah, we'll fix it in post. But for those that are listening, Placido is actually my cousin. We get comments on the YouTube channel. He left.
He's gone.
He's
Offended by your
you gotta go on Do Not Disturb, bro. You gotta do Not
are
Disturb.
you sure? Are you sure you want to let people know that we're related?
Yeah. So I want to explain this to some people because
Go
people
ahead.
say, "How is this your cousin?" And I'm like, "It's really not that difficult." Like my aunt married a Puerto Rican, and they're like, "Yeah, but how do you have Puerto Rican cousins
Yeah,
just
no, but
because you
how?
married a Mexican?" And I'm like, "No,
Yeah, but how?
like
Yeah.
my aunt married a
Grant,
Puerto Rican.
you're not
so-
Puerto
No, I get that,
Rican.
Grant, but how? Like, how'd that happen?
But why aren't you
Yeah,
Puerto Rican?
yeah. Yeah. So
Do you become Puerto Rican after that?
Yes.
well, I'm by proxy Puerto Rican.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
But this more than anything just goes to show just how white Grant is. He's so white that even his Puerto Rican family are white.
He is very white. That is true.
That's how white he is.
he's pretty
Like,
white.
look at me. Like, if a police officer pulls me over, I'm like, "Excuse me, sir, how you doing?" "Yeah, I love America."
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting off with a warning for
That's
sure.
great work.
Grant's
So let me-
so
Great work.
white.
Hey,
Sounds like great.
Let me
it's a
ask,
great joke.
let me ask you this though, Placido. Compared to my 4 siblings, am I still the whitest?
No.
Nah, dog.
No. So I'm not.
that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
You got me there, bro. You got me there. You
I got a
got me.
little
You
bit
got
of
me.
color.
You got
He's
me.
basically
Touche,
Puerto Rican.
touche.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. So Placido owns a jiu-jitsu gym in Massachusetts. He kind of likes Boston sports teams, doesn't really care about sports. He loves America. And you're a big jiu-jitsu guy. You lift weights. I don't know. If you were like to give us, hey, this is who I am, besides the fact that you have 7 kids, and I don't even know how you did that. What would you say?
Thank you for your service.
Okay, so if I was to introduce myself and say a little bit, I'm a Christian first and foremost. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a jiu-jitsu practitioner. And yeah, you're right. I do love America. So
That's a good bio.
Is practitioner the official term?
it's a good term, you know.
I like it. Yeah.
Like if you lift weights, like I guess would you call yourself? I'm a weightlifter.
No,
you know,
amateur,
or I
for sure.
like
Yeah.
to strength train. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
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 You know what I mean?
I practice the weights.
Gotcha.
exactly. Don't let the weights practition you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So let's get right into
Doing
it
it wrong.
because I don't even know the answer to this question. You're my primo. How did you get into jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-jitsu. So the way I got into it was in college, university. I used to play basketball, and basketball didn't really work out in university. So I kind of started looking for the next thing that I could do to have a competitive outlet. And I went to a local jiu-jitsu gym that had just so happened to send us an email at the local Christian group that was on campus, which I was a part of and would help run. So they sent us an email. I was like, yeah, let's go check it out. I checked it out, fell in love with it, and that was the rest is history.
So, okay, the rest is history, but you go from, hey, I'm a Christian on campus and I'm not good at basketball.
Christian
to-
practitioner.
Yeah, Christian practitioner.
Amen.
I'm a
I'm not
Christian
good at I'm not good at basketball. 2, I'm the is Uki the right
That
word?
was good. That was really good.
Yeah,
That was really good.
is Uki the right word? That's what we call it in the Marine Corps, in our Marine Corps martial arts program. But the person that like
Yeah, uke.
gets
Uke,
Okay,
yeah.
okay,
The
okay.
uke is the
Okay.
okay.
yeah, the uke.
Okay.
So how did you get like you start doing jiu-jitsu and you like it? Cool. But like how did you then go boom, I'm in all of Danaher's videos?
So the way that worked was, when I started jiu-jitsu, I like I said, I really enjoyed it a lot. And I'm the type of guy where if something catches my interest, it's pretty much all or nothing. Like, I know very, very, very little about many things, but if I find something that catches my interest, I'll go all in on that one thing. And I'm awful with having competent knowledge of many different areas, right? So, which is actually like the opposite of what my coach, John, is like. Like, he's extremely competent in many areas of knowledge. Like, he's just the type of guy that can absorb a lot of knowledge and retain a lot of knowledge. I'm not like that. I'm more of a specialist, if you may, when it comes to that. Like, I have to focus on one thing. Like, sometimes people will tell me something. I'm like, dude, I'm not going to remember that. I don't have enough bandwidth up here to remember that. So don't be offended if I don't remember that.
But
that's
my own heart.
Yeah. So with jiu-jitsu, I just went all in. Like, I went from, I was doing it 2 days a week at first. I was like, how can I make this 3 days a week? When I went 3 days a week, it's like, how can I make this 4? How can I make this 5? I just became obsessed, and I was training and drilling as much as I possibly could. And then eventually, at that time, Coach John and what was known back in the day, people who do jiu-jitsu will know what I'm talking about. You guys won't, but back in the day was known as the Danaher Death Squad, was when they first came on the scene. And they were just starting to come onto the scene and make waves and starting to beat a lot of people. And I remember as a young white belt, I took notice of them. Back then, Gordon Ryan, who's arguably one of the most famous jiu-jitsu practitioners now, wasn't even a black belt back then. He was still a brown belt. But I took notice, and then I was like, wow, those guys are really cool. And I started looking up to them. I started watching all their highlight reels. And when I found out John would teach classes in New York City, and it was at a school and anybody could just come, I just went and I tried it, and I just stuck with it. And that's pretty much all it came down to, is just I kept showing up. So many people show up and then they stop going because it gets hard or this or that and the other. Matter of fact, I remember when I lived in Massachusetts and would travel to New York, there were so many different times where I would get people to start going with me, because traveling from Massachusetts to New York City was like quite the trip. It was like at least 3.5, 4 hours of just driving down there one way. Then you're looking at 3.5, 4 hours the other. Then you're looking at gas expenses, food. It takes a whole day. You're tired. I would go down for the days where there were double sessions. So the first session was at 7:30 a.m. Second session was at noon. Do the math. I would have to wake up at my house at like 4 a.m., sometimes like 3:30 if I thought the traffic was going to be extra bad. Drive down. So you just get home exhausted. But it was so hard to find somebody that was just willing to stick with it and do it with me over time. I found plenty of people that were willing to do it with me, like a couple months, 3 months, 4 months. But then they would all just fall off. Like, they just stopped doing it. They just stopped going for whatever reason, for one reason or another. So then I met the owner of BJJ Fanatics, Michael, and I was training at the same gym that he was up here in Massachusetts, a gym run by Travis Stevens, who was a judoka silver medalist for the United States back in, I forget, it was the Tokyo Olympics. I forget what year that was exactly. But Michael knew of me because I was in the same gym that he was, and he knew that I would go down and train with John. And Michael, the owner of BJJ Fanatics, was like, hey, man, like, I just signed a contract with John. Would you like to come in and help with the project? I was like, I'd love to. And that's how that happened.
Can we just take a minute to say something real quick? So Placido said that he's a jiu-jitsu practitioner, but I think he's being humble.
Yeah.
And when he says practitioner, are you a black belt?
No, I'm not a black belt. I'm a purple belt under John.
Purple belt under John. Okay. And I will say
that means the second, sorry to cut you off, but the under whoever
that matters
means a lot, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like, who your belt is under probably so the thing about the belt system in jiu-jitsu is it's become very, what's the word I want to use? Perhaps like ambiguous, like, what is a brown belt in one person's mind may not necessarily be the same standard of brown belt in another person's mind.
So
right?
It's almost watered
down. What you say, I'm sorry?
Is it like almost watered down? Is that what you're saying? Like, there's a lot of gyms out there. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Subjective.
like it depends a lot, right? So like you think, like for example, like you think that, say for example, oh well, if brown belt is above blue belt, then brown belt will always beat blue belt. But it doesn't always work that way. Like sometimes you'll get a blue belt who's just so much better than whatever brown belt you're talking about, and will absolutely wreck the brown belt. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I
And it's
imagine
just
that
more
a John Danaher purple belt is legit.
It's definitely John Danaher purple belt will probably beat a lot of other purple belts for sure.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
probably other browns and blacks for sure.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's stricter. So like the name, because and I don't want to get you off your story, but I like driving through California. It's like BJJ by Gracie, whoever.
Yeah.
BJJ by this Gracie.
Yeah.
Art of Jiu Jitsu by what's the Brazilian guys?
Art of Jiu Jitsu is the Mendez brothers. They're good.
The Mendez brothers,
They're good.
right? Like, no, I know they're like, yeah. So like, there's all these different things, and it's like my first exposure to jiu-jitsu was from one of my coaches, Jeff Harrison. He's been working for me or with me since 2017. He's a black belt under the Mendez brothers, and he like explained to me like, no, you don't understand. There's like a hierarchy. And I'm like, everywhere I look in California, there's a jiu-jitsu gym. He's like, yeah, like they're all different. So, but anyway, so a purple belt under Dr. John, is that what you call him?
No, he's not. John never calls himself a doctor, and I don't think he ever got his official doctorate degree from university. He did teach philosophy for some time at Columbia University, but they call it professor. And the reason they call it professor is because in Brazil, which is where the sport originated, the word for teacher that Brazilians use is professor. Right. So they say it like that. So it just like it, the Brazilians, when they came to the United States, they're not going to change their language or their terms necessarily just to, accommodate Americans, I guess. So they just kept calling the teacher the professor. So the teacher is called the professor. So John is referenced as a professor. Now, if you ask, he is absolutely a doctor of jiu-jitsu without a doubt. Right. A lot of people have been able to see John now in this information age through his instructionals and through his videos. But people who meet him in person will be able to attest how much information this person can hold. Like it's a true gift that God has given him for sure. But he's definitely a doctor of jiu-jitsu. So if you want to call him a doctor of jiu-jitsu, I don't think there's anybody out there that would say, no, that's not accurate.
Okay. Well, I have a ton of questions for my cousin, but let me let Jeff and Trey take some stabs at you.
F.A., go
Trey,
for it,
you want
brother.
to go? Okay. What year did you get started with jiu-jitsu?
Let me see. We're in 2024. I got started. It'll be 10 years this coming in December of this year. I will have been doing jiu-jitsu for 10 years officially. So 2014-ish.
Nice. Okay.
Right around then. Yeah.
Have you? I mean, I feel like I bring this guy up a lot on the podcast. But so, have you seen? Is there really like a Joe Rogan like boom? Like as that podcast like shot through like the stratosphere, I feel like bow hunting and jiu-jitsu probably saw like just like masses of people flock to those pursuits just because of the sheer amount of listeners and then like the sheer amount of time that guy spends talking about those topics. Did you see that like effect? Was it like real and like, oh yeah, I remember it this year we just started seeing tons of people flock in.
So I think I personally didn't get to see that because when did Joe Rogan's podcast get started? Wasn't it early 2000s?
Yeah.
It was like,
it was really,
I was like 08.
yeah.
Yeah.
So by the time I came on the jiu-jitsu scene, Joe Rogan's podcast had already been online for however many years it was.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't think I haven't been in the sport long enough to see that effect take place.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact from listening to people who have been in the sport long enough that is 100% a thing. That because Joe had spoken so much about jiu-jitsu, the sport saw a lot of growth, and I think it still continues to see a lot of growth from that I think I've heard this time and time again. Jiu-jitsu is actually the fastest growing martial art in the world right now.
Yeah, I believe that.
So, and there are many reasons for it, but yeah, if that answers your question.
Yeah. But I was gonna say, yeah, because like, you know, just from listening to that, that's probably around 2014, 2013 is when I really started listening to it. And so like, just from, you know, just binging episodes. So like when Grant was like, oh yeah, my cousin, he did like the UKAY for John Danaher. I was like, oh, I know who that is. And I've never taken a
really?
BJJ class in my life. And I was like, okay, I know this name. I've heard Joe talk about it. So I know that this guy is like, this must be super legit because
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, John has been on the podcast a couple times for sure.
Yeah.
What episodes on the podcast do you like to listen to for the JRE podcast?
Oh man,
straight UFO.
I love the stand-up comedian ones just because I think it's fun just to hear like the ins and outs of that life. And then the fighter ones I think are always great because like I mean I don't have any like fighting background other than I am a green belt in Marine Corps martial arts. I don't know if you're familiar with this program.
Let's go.
We call it
one mind, any weapon. Big deal. But yeah, I love listening to that stuff because then just hearing like the mindset that those guys like, you know, step into the UFC cage with is so cool to hear. And the BJJ ones are great too.
What was the name of that of the comedian that went on the Tom Brady roast? And
Nikki
he was
Glaser?
like, Tom Brady, why do you look like a gay Tom Brady?
Yeah.
Was it Andrew Schultz?
Tony Hinchcliffe.
Tony
Hinchcliffe. He was on JRE. Dude, it was so good.
Peaky Blinders.
That's Andrew Schultz.
He's
good.
not
Andrew Schultz.
Do you listen to that Kill Tony podcast?
So when I lift, I listen to most of my podcasts when I'm lifting and when I'm driving.
Same.
And I try to, as much as possible, listen to stuff that's like actually like productive and, you know, will have information that I need. Like I try to, as much as possible, stick to that. So I don't watch that much Kill Tony. The last Kill Tony that I watched was the one where he had like Biden on there and Trump. And
Shane Gillis was Trump.
Oh, I saw that. That was so good. That was so good.
Great. You watched the whole thing?
No, I just saw the clips. I just saw the clips on X.
Yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched maybe like 40 minutes of it, but it was phenomenal.
Hilarious.
It was funny.
I bet the UFC, talking about what Jeff was saying, I bet the UFC caused a lot of growth for people signing up to jiu-jitsu because there's that whole story of the guy comes into the UFC and starts strangling everyone. And they're like, what's this Brazilian guy now?
Who's that?
Which Gracie was it?
That was
Hoist Gracie.
Okay.
It was like he's like this kind of small Brazilian guy with his full, you know, gi on and all these. It was kind of like an untested early part of the UFC. Placido, tell me if I'm wrong. And everybody thought like, oh, this is the best martial art. Karate's the best martial art. Just being a giant, strong guy is the best martial art. And then this like Brazilian guy with his full gi on comes and just starts strangling everybody. And they're like, what is this?
At the time, no weight classes either.
In UFC. And there's no weight classes either. And he was beating guys way bigger than him.
And no weight classes. No weight classes.
Wild.
Ball striking. Bro, I've seen a video of this dude. And you can
ball striking?
You can see some of the old UFC videos. Dude getting sprawled on. Picture the guy, like, you know how when you look at a bull's behind, you can see his balls hanging? That's how this dude's balls are hanging. Like, just from behind. Bro, and he starts cutting the balls, like, over 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like.
No way.
On this podcast,
and they're bare knuckle, too.
We call them huevos. Yeah.
Huevos.
But he was getting those huevos scrambled, bro.
Scrambled eggs. Yeah.
You put a little bit of salsa on it, that's it.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so all right. And remember, I'm like ignorant to all this, like for a reason. I mean, I don't intentionally be ignorant, but like MMA, do you consider yourself like in that world, or is that like a completely different world?
I trained MMA with John for a couple of years, and
so does he train people in like MMA would be the same as UFC, right?
UFC is like an organization that does the sport MMA.
Okay.
Correct.
So like, does John deal with that too?
Yeah, he does.
Okay.
Yeah, he's also a lot of people don't actually know this. He's not as I mean, he's not as well known for it, but John is a phenomenal MMA coach. I mean, dare I say, in my opinion, probably the best MMA coach on planet Earth. He's every bit as good as he is in jiu-jitsu. He's every bit as good at MMA. People are like, how does he even know any striking? Trust me, he studies and he knows. Like, he knows a lot. And I mean, it's shown from some of his products, especially George St. Pierre. Like, he helped George St. Pierre, be one of the most dominant UFC champions in the history. And he was also with, if I'm not mistaken, he was also with the guy from Long Island that beat Anderson Silva. I forget the guy's name.
Kid Rock.
Yeah,
No.
Kid Rock.
Yes.
Sorry, you said UFC. My mind went to Kid Rock.
He showed Kid Rock how to mow down that entire case of Bud Light. John showed him how to do that.
The best coach in the world.
Professor.
Professor.
He can teach you how to shoot a fully auto weapon, no problem.
No problem.
No problem.
Wow,
No problem
That's
ever.
what we were talking about before this.
Yeah, exactly.
What were you guys
So-
talking about?
Machine guns.
Shooting machine guns.
Yeah, we were talking about machine guns. Yeah.
Dude, you guys are making me drool. Here in Massachusetts, things have been getting so bad when it comes to the Second Amendment.
Go for it. I know you want to go on a political rant, so just go for it. Just go,
Give the floor.
buddy. Well,
Tell us why.
Let the big dogs eat.
Wait. Tell us why you think that Kamala Harris's gun confiscation plan is a good thing for America, and why that's what we need in this country.
I think it's just important that we allow the unburdening of the past to help us correct the future things of unburdened past. Because that's the way that we're going to move towards passion.
That's right.
Yes.
Towards passion. Space is fun.
Yes.
Space affects
And
all of us.
that's how we create a running, functioning democracy. Because when a democracy runs and functions, it also can function and run the way it's supposed to function. See what I'm
I didn't
saying?
think about that. That's a great point, actually. Yeah, that sounds like something John Danaher maybe would even say.
I don't know if he's at that level yet.
He's not there. He's
That's
not there.
Kamala level.
Yeah. I have some questions for
Yeah,
him.
go for it.
All right. So, Placido, I don't know if you know who you're talking to, but I'm a 4-stripe white belt from back in the day. So, just letting you know.
Boy, listen, not for
What you're
nothing, but
dealing with.
4-stripe white belts can win 80% of the street fights they get in.
You know
Hey.
what? I've said that to people. I've said, not that I'm a jiu-jitsu practitioner. I haven't done it in a long time, but I have told my friends and people have asked me about it before. Take 6 months of jiu-jitsu. Like, go multiple times a week. You have a giant advantage, right? And actually, that actually leads to my first question. I feel like I know what you're going to say to this, but you take a random guy. You say, he says, I want to be prepared to defend myself in a street fight. I got a boxing gym in my area and I got a jiu-jitsu gym in my area, and I got time to go to one. Which one are you telling him to go to?
Yeah, 100%. So I've had this conversation many times, inclusively with John himself. When it comes to it, again, the ideal is to try to be competent in many different forms of combat, right? So you want to be competent in striking, you want to be competent at, standing to ground, and then you want to be competent on the ground as well. But if you only had to choose one martial art to focus on, if street defense is your actual focus, it's really, really hard to make a case against jiu-jitsu as being that martial art.
Why? Why?
That's not to say that isn't to say that say, for example, something like boxing or Muay Thai is not effective on the streets. I am not saying that at all. Boxing and Muay Thai are incredibly effective. They're incredibly great martial arts. Now, let's answer Grant's question. Grant's asked why. What is it specifically about jiu-jitsu that makes it the best martial arts for the street? And the answer to that is that when you look at jiu-jitsu as a whole, when you look at jiu-jitsu as a system, it actually encompasses the most complete system out of all the different subsets, all the different martial arts, okay? Jiu-jitsu is essentially a 4-step system. Step 1, you take your opponent from the standing position to the ground with a takedown. Step 2, you pass your opponent's legs and you pin them. You pass your opponent's legs. Step 3, you pin them. Step 4, you isolate a limb and you submit them. Okay.
Wait,
so again,
when do you shoot them?
That's
Step 5.
That's step
Have you
5.
seen-
Step 5.
Listen. Grant, had you watched John Wick, you wouldn't be asking such stupid questions.
Never seen it. I was homeschooled. Sorry.
Yeah, you got to watch John Wick, bro, and you'll know when to shoot him.
Okay. No, I didn't mean to take you off your stump speech. I was
Step
just,
zero
I was
of
just
this game.
curious when you shot him.
I mean, in Massachusetts, it's actually better for me if somebody gets in a confrontation that's about to attack me for me to shoot them than it is for me to strangle them. Believe it or not.
I believe it.
Wow.
Interesting.
Trey, you have to ask him your question.
I
When we
got
talk
so
about
I got
the
two. So
slideshow.
one, my brother, Dr. Gottlich, just started doing jiu-jitsu. So I was telling him you were coming on the podcast. He was pretty excited and he had a good question. But my question first though was, I guess, come from me. I remember seeing a video I think Grant had posted kind of when you started strength training, and maybe you can touch on that a little bit, kind of before and after benefits you see. But I guess the question I had is kind of as far as just training aspect, what's your percentage? Are you training technique versus strength or cardio? Is it like a 50-50 mix? Are you heavy on technique and then less cardio? You know what I'm saying? How do you have that split?
Yeah, how do I balance everything you're asking?
Yeah. Like, what do you have a preference of how you like to do things when it comes to that?
Yeah, sure. So first off, tell Dr. G I appreciate the question. And
Oh, he has
so
another
I'll
one too,
answer that
yeah.
question.
A man of the people.
Yeah.
Dr. G, hi, how you doing? What's he a doctor of?
Thought he was a
Orthopedic
professor.
surgery.
Okay, with Dr. G, I thought he'd be Dr. Gynecologist or something.
Yeah, that would be better if he could.
Missed
he should,
opportunity.
He's
Great marketing.
doctor, you know.
Back to school.
But anyways, how do I balance everything? Great question. This depends a lot on how intense the training is, depending on what you're preparing for, right? So,
Okay.
Are you asking more for a athlete? Are you asking more for a practitioner? What?
I would say so like in his case, he practices, like he'll go to the gym maybe once or twice a week to practice his technique on jiu-jitsu. And then just like your average run of the mill, Jordy said, hey, I'm going to the gym just to learn it. Kind of how do you find that split?
So Grant one time told me something that I thought was really insightful, and I think it's true. Grant said to me one time that when it comes to strength training, as long as you get yourself in the gym three days a week and you push yourself, that you will be able to make strength progress and gains. And that's true. That's 100% true. With that said, as far as with jiu-jitsu goes, personally, the way I've been able to find a good balance between being able to practice my jiu-jitsu and at the same time be able to still hit the weights is to spread the load across. So instead of a 3-day split, I've been doing a 4-day split. All right.
Okay.
So the way I've been doing a 4-day split is I've been doing more what most people would call like a type of conjugate or congruent training, where so basically the way it works is I'll go either upper body on one day, lower body on the other. Lower body being, let's just keep it barbell specific, your squat, your deadlift. And then upper body, let's just keep it very starting straight specific, your bench, your press, right? And then on one of those days, your upper body lift is intensity focused. So the volume is very low, but the intensity is a bit higher, right? It doesn't have to be balls to the wall every single intensity session, but it's higher. It's just meant to push you a little bit.
Okay.
And I found that if you train with intensity, so like say in your 85% max range, 85% 1 rep max range, but you keep the volume very low, you can still hit that high intensity lift. Because you have low volume, you feel fine. You hit a heavy double, triple this morning, maybe even a heavy single, but you're good to go for training. Like you don't have any soreness. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Same, and that goes both ways. It goes for the upper body, it goes for the lower body. Same thing with the vol. So then the other day is the volume day, right? So you have your intensity day and then you have your volume days. On the volume days, the way it typically works with the type of training I've been doing is on the volume days, you focus on, again, lower intensity with a higher volume. Again, because the intensity is lower, the volume is very manageable. And the way it typically goes, it scales, right? So you start the volume. The volume you can adjust depending on how much you want to push yourself, right? So that's where you can really push yourself. So for example, on there's like 3 weeks where I need to just more of maintenance, not so much of like pushing hard for progress. On my volume day, what I'll do is like, say for example, I'll do like 10 sets of 3 reps. That's super small. 3 reps at like 70%, right? That's like almost nothing. Like you can move that bar super fast. Say I want to push myself, right? Now we're talking, say, for example, 5 sets of like 2 reps at like 85 to 90%. Or say, for example, or you may even be pushing even harder, right? So, I mean, I've found the conjugate or like the congruent training to work a lot better with jiu-jitsu because again, on the days that you have very high intensity, the volume is low enough so you can still go in the gym. And on the days when the volume is higher, the intensity is still low enough where you can still go in the gym and train.
So follow-up question. So right now you work for Dr. John, you have a jiu-jitsu studio that you have to run. How many days are you lifting weights and how many days are you rolling? And include, I think that's one thing where jiu-jitsu is very different than strength training, right? Like, so I trained 5 people today in person. I did no physical effort, right? Like, because there's nothing. And maybe you think of training someone in jiu-jitsu as no physical effort. Maybe you have a nuki there or whatever, but I just mean, like, how many days are you in, like, hey, I'm trying to make my jiu-jitsu craft better? And how many days are you in the gym saying, like, hey, I may not get stronger today, but I'm working on things to get stronger over time? Because, I mean, I think the real answer is that you actually ran your novice linear progression correctly. You got strong. And then now you actually are kind of in a maintenance mode. And you're like, how do I balance these 2 things? But how many times are you doing jiu-jitsu and how many times are you lifting weights?
So I'll answer that question. After I answer it, I'm going to clarify because when I answer that question, some people listening to this podcast will be like, how the heck is he doing that in non-steroids? Okay. I lift at least 4 days a week. Sometimes I'll lift 5 days a week if I feel like, I just want to get a little bit more volume in, a little bit more quote unquote assistance work. And I'm doing jiu-jitsu 6 days a week. Okay. Now, with that said, people are like, what the heck? Like, how is this kid like doing jiu-jitsu 6 days a week? He's lifting 5 days a week. Like, I can barely like do my 2 days a week of jiu-jitsu, my 2 days of lifting weights, and I'm absolutely dead. Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you a hypothetical, Grant. Say, for example, somebody came to you, Grant, and they said to you, hey, you're Grant Broggi. You say you should at least get in the gym 3 days a week to still make progress. What if they told you, like, Grant, I get in the gym, I go 3 days a week, but I absolutely cannot do it. I just physically can't get in there 3 days a week. Is it a time thing? No. It's not a time thing. Like I can make the time to go in there. So what do you mean? Like, it's just too much for me, man. Like I just can't do it. What's probably the first thing you're going to tell that person?
Without cursing,
Find another program.
They're going 3 days.
I'm gonna ask them if they're sleeping enough, if they're waiting enough between sets, and like how aggressive they're going on load progression.
There it is. You hit it. You hit the nail on the head, right? How aggressive, right? How aggressive is your training? It's the same way with jiu-jitsu. It's no different. You can't go to the gym 4 times a week to the jiu-jitsu gym, go balls to the wall, and expect yourself to recover. And that's what people do. Like, that's what the average guy does. Like, unfortunately, the average guy has absolutely zero concept of how to pace themselves in the jiu-jitsu gym. Every single roll they want to beat you. Because you guys have to understand, like, with weights, yes, there is a competitive nature to weights. Like, I want to outlift that.
But it's you against the bar. It's not you against another person.
Exactly. And so when you go against another person, like, it really takes like a lot inside of a man to be like, I'm not going to beat this guy up. I'm just going to go soft, right? And it takes 2 to tango, right? It takes 2 people coming onto the same page saying, hey, we can't afford to keep up this high intensity training load. We have to take this down. And unfortunately, Too many people don't do that, and they never do that, and so their whole jiu-jitsu career is plagued with
ego
injuries, right? And they do the same thing. It's they repeat the cycle over and over again. They go into the gym, they go too hard, time and time again, they get injured. They take time off, they recover from the injury, they come back to the gym, they go too hard, over and over and over again, they get injured, they recover. And then the cycle just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So I think, honestly, one of the biggest problems with most jiu-jitsu practitioners, even recreational ones like Dr. G, is that they go way too hard in the gym, like in the jiu-jitsu gym. Listen, it typically has nothing to do with the weight room. Okay? Understand, in the weight room,
There we go.
Right? So this weight is fixed. I know how much load this is. And this isn't going to move on me. Like, I can predict what this is going to do. When you hit hands with somebody and you go for a roll, you don't know what the load is going to be. You don't know how it's going to move, right? It's completely unpredictable, right? So a lot of times jiu-jitsu guys, when they can't manage both, the first thing they do is like, oh, well, I guess I got to ditch the lifting because I want to keep doing jiu-jitsu. Buddy, you're an idiot. Like, this doesn't change. Like, this is the most predictable thing you have. This is what you have to keep going. Adjust your jiu-jitsu training, bro. You're doing it wrong. And if like
he's holding a strength code 25-pound plate for the listeners. Right. Continue. Yeah.
Well, I'm in my weight room.
Strength code plate. The USA.
Gorgeous. Power.
That's funny you say that. I'll say this. Tell me if this isn't what you've seen, but in my limited jiu-jitsu experience, I had the opportunity to roll with, and I say roll loosely, they were probably just like playing around with some brown belts and actually one black belt. And the thing that struck me, and I would see them roll with other people, it actually looked like they would get more relaxed when they would start rolling. And to the point, one guy, he was not slacking it, but it looked like he was going slower. Like he would kind of zen out and almost go in slow motion. And then I would roll with him. And the experience that I felt was, I can't tell you exactly what moves he did. I felt like he was going in slow motion and I couldn't move. Like I couldn't breathe or move or do anything. It was just like, I was terrified and I was trying, and I would have felt better if he was like going balls to the wall.
Is this when we ask if the sport is gay? Cause I feel like we just, this is
he was caressing me, bro. Yeah, he was like caressing me and then strangled me almost to death, but that's fine. But have you seen that too?
Yeah, 100%. Grant always loves to send me memes of jiu-jitsu guys like doing the gayest things.
Sounds about right.
It happens. It's called the north-south position. North-south.
Listen, the moment I send Grant anything that has to do with Marines doing gay things, oh, he loses it. That's it. It's gone. Bro, matter of fact, hear me out. There have been times that I will see something on X of some Marine doing something wild, and I'll be like, I'm not going to send it to Grant because I know it's going to ruin his day.
He doesn't want to smoke.
You should send it. They definitely do the gayest stuff ever.
All right, listen, you heard it here. It's recorded. Grant said you should send it. Don't
send it.
All right.
Send.
You said it.
Full send.
Recorded for history.
Full send.
Full send. No, it's true. No, it's funny because Marines do, I always think of this because I always tease Placido when like I'll find a jiu-jitsu thing and it does look like some gay activity. And I'll think like, man, if I'm really cold and I'm in the Marine Corps and I'm sleeping, like I'm totally hugging that dude next to me because I am really cold. Yeah, and this is the least gay thing I've ever done. Like I'm hugging this dude. I'm getting as close to him as I can. Can I get in his sleeping bag? Because like I am freezing.
Wait, are you big spoon? Are you big spoon or small spoon?
Oh, he's big spoon.
We're just spoons. We're just spoons. we don't want to be unburdened by what has been. We're just spoons.
Yeah. Non-binary spoons.
Okay, so that's all good. I feel like we have to hit on a couple more things. So we hit on Dr. John. We talked about training and jiu-jitsu. Let's see. You have a business open there in Massachusetts. I don't know. Like, how's that going? Are you opening a brick and mortar establishment is tough.
Yeah, it is.
Like, are you? Because especially if you're passionate about it, right? Like, I want to teach everyone how to squat. That's what I want to do. I want to wake up in the morning and teach people how to squat. You open a business, you're like, oh, there's like a sign, there's rent, there's electricity, there's a toilet bill. Like, there's all these things. Like, have you found it to be rewarding, or have you found it to be like, oh, actually, I should just coach people online? And I'm just asking, like, or are you like, hey, I just need more time? Like what do you think about that experiment? I think take this out of jiu-jitsu and just take it into, there's people that listen to this podcast that are just interested in business in general in terms of
for sure.
Hey, I love this thing and I'm good at it. And that's what made me popular or whatever you want to call it. But like actually opening a brick and mortar place, what are your thoughts?
It's definitely, you hit the nail right on the head, Grant, when you said it's challenging, for sure. It is really challenging. It's been a roller coaster ride, honestly, is the best way I can put it. It's opening a gym and being a gym owner. The business is not yet profitable. I haven't made a single dollar from it quite yet. But with that said, it has been a steady, even though it's done this like Bitcoin, right?
My guy.
It has slowly, little by little, it's growing. Okay. But it's growing at a very slow pace. I need to find a way to speed that pace up. Right. So so many people around me that are also gym owners are just telling me, dude, just keep at it, time under tension and you'll get there. So, I take their word for it. I guess, just stick with it. I know there's a lot that I have yet to learn. Like, I have yet to learn, how to run Facebook ads. I have yet to learn, how to run YouTube ads. But I've been learning how to do other things. Like, I've been starting to grow my Instagram way more. I've been starting to grow my YouTube way more. But I think as long as I keep time under tension, I am pretty confident that I will be able to have a successful gym in the area. How successful? That's up to God.
Yeah, that's true. No, yeah. And I think that's I think in the areas, the biggest thing that I've learned is it is a gym, and I don't actually care what venue you're in. You can be teaching strength training. You can be teaching jiu-jitsu. You can be teaching spin. You can be teaching Pilates. At the end of the day, people that go to the gym go for some type of almost recreational reason. It's the end of the day. Now I go to the gym. Yeah. And hopefully they're into strength training, or hopefully they're into Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Hopefully they're into the thing that you're offering. But the biggest thing that I learned, having now opened, I guess, 3 of them, is the local populace is the people that you're after. And because people, and I'm sure you get this all the time, and I hope you validate this, is people oh man, you're doing a camp in Boise? I wish you'd open a gym in Indianapolis. And what I think, having had a gym open since 2016, is no, you don't. I would open one in Indianapolis and you would never come. You would tell me how it's a 35-minute commute and you would never go 100%. There. You would totally 100%. Come to one of my camps and pay a bunch of money for it, but you would never be a member. You don't mean that. And we get these messages all the time. Hey, I love what the Strength Co's doing. Opening a gym in Fort Worth. You'd never come because you live in Frisco. Yep. That's an hour drive. Yep. It's not happening. So what I've learned for gyms is how, what's my 5-mile radius? And how populated is the city, right? So in South Carolina, it could be a 15-mile radius because we don't have traffic here. But if you're in California, my members that have stayed there since 2017 live within 3 miles. Yeah. And they didn't even know what starting strength was. Yeah. They just saw a gym pop up, which is a whole new way to think about business. But it's a journey. You're on a good one. And you have you can one thing that helps my gym in California is I can go there and say, hey, I'm running a lifting camp. Yeah. And because I built a YouTube, people are oh, that's that guy.
Yeah.
and they'll fly in for it. But I always just remind people when they want to open a gym because they're passionate about something, again, forget whatever the business is, hey, just because someone will come and see you once doesn't mean they'll see you 3 times a week. Like those are 2 different things.
I think you absolutely hit the nail on the head there, Grant, when you said that for most people, the gym is a place of recreation. It's a place where they come after work.
Yep.
It's a place where they come to seek community. John, when I first went to open my gym, John, I remember very distinctly one time sat me down and said to me, remember that at the end of the day, when it comes to running a jiu-jitsu gym, people do not care about what you know. They have no interest in what you know. All they care about is how you can make them feel. That's it.
Yep.
That's all they care about is how you can make them feel. And what I'm starting to realize at the more gym owners I talk to, and even people like obviously like what you were just saying, Grant, is, because I've mostly spoken to jiu-jitsu gym owners, not strength training gym owners, but I'm sure it's the same thing in strength training. It's the Pareto's principle. 80% of the people that walk in through the door are walking in through the door because they come to this place not because of how good it is or whatever the case may be, but how it makes them feel. 20% are there because of how good the product actually is, and because regardless of how it makes them feel, they're going to do it, right?
Yep.
So I've been seeing that. I've been starting to learn that is that, in any gym, whether it's jiu-jitsu, whether it's strength training, take 20% of the population. Those are your diehards. They'll do it no matter what. Doesn't matter how it makes them feel. The 80%, you have to keep them feeling good, right? Unfortunately, it's the way it works, right? If they don't feel like they're making progress, if they don't feel like they have a sense of community, if they don't feel like you notice them and you validate them, they're not going to keep coming. It just comes down to that. So I guess,
but that matters too, right? Like it's like in the gym, it's probably similar in jiu-jitsu. Like it doesn't actually matter if you squat 500 pounds. What matters is that you came in and made progress, right? And that's what you're trying to relay to your clients is like, hey, yeah, you're not a black belt. You're what'd you say, a white belt with 5 stripes?
4 stripes,
which is good, right?
Easy, buddy. Easy. Listen,
Yeah.
Jordy, if I was you, I wouldn't accept that disrespect from you.
Hey,
I didn't mean no disrespect.
I will say,
3 stripes.
not to interject, but like, again, correct me, but like the jiu-jitsu belts are a little bit different than other martial art belts. Like saying you're a purple belt in jiu-jitsu or even a blue belt, it's like, oh, you've been in the game for a couple years or a few years. Like, it's not like you're a white belt for a long time. That's what I'm saying.
I actually think it's unspoken in strength training, and that's a problem for business. Like, so I don't know jiu-jitsu, and I'm not going to pretend to do it, but like, it seems that if you're at it for long enough, you will progress. Some will progress faster than others won't. But like in weightlifting, it's like, can you do left 405? And it's like, I mean, I have brothers-in-law, Mexicanos, that just come in and deadlift 405 untrained.
Yeah.
Right. And then I have people that train for 3 years and pull it.
Yeah.
And then I have people that I look at and I'm like, you'll never pull 405. Like, that's just the way it's going to be. So there's not like these like clear benchmarks.
Yeah.
Where in jiu-jitsu, I'm treading very carefully, but like there's maybe there's always an upward trend, or does someone get like, could someone do jiu-jitsu for 15 years and never leave a purple belt? Like, does that happen? And is that an outlier if it does?
There's so many different things that factor into it.
Fair.
Like what instructor you have factors into that a lot, right? If you have a good instructor and you come into the gym for 15 years and you don't make purple belt level, then you are absolutely retarded. But if you have a bad instructor, that could be possible, I guess. But I guess it would take like the perfect storm, like 2 retards, like the instructor just retarded as the student. And so it's just like Helen Keller trying to talk to, I don't know.
Takes 2
else.
to tango. You already said it.
Yeah, exactly. It takes 2 to tango. So, I mean, I guess what you're saying is true, but in jiu-jitsu, it's a little. That's the beauty of that sport. I think it's one of the reasons why the sport is continuing to grow.
I think so too.
What's that?
I think so too, because people see progress.
Yeah.
That's the problem with what I sell is like, hey, I do a novice linear progression. I get close to my genetic potential. Now what happens? My squat's at 315 and I make progress every 3 months, but only if I'm consistent. So now what? I'm frustrated. When I first joined this gym, I made progress rapidly. Whereas like, I feel like again, I don't mean this as knock. I mean it as a great business model. Like, hey, you may not get stronger. You may not get more athletic. But like, if you keep working at this, like there's a next belt, there's a next level. And like that matters to people. Like I've seen that in the gym. Like when someone deadlifts 300, they don't give any care. They don't care at all. When they deadlift 315, they're like, oh man, I had 3 plates on each side. They, like they, you know it as a lifter. They're like, I care. 100%. That's why I always say, never deadlift 310, never squat 400. No. Always go to the next plate. If you miss it, you die. Who cares? 100%. So like if you squat 400, all you're going to think about when you go home is I could have done 4 plates. That's all you're going to think about. 100%. And I think it's like similar to the belts in terms of like, hey, I achieved the next thing. What I think is that in lifting, like 405 is 405.
Yeah. One thing I will
subjective.
say.
Yeah.
And the runway's long too to get to black belt. Like it's not like, oh, you can get to black belt in 3 years. It's like, this might be a 15-year journey.
True. However, one thing I will say that I think was probably a bigger challenge for Grant as a strength coach than it is for myself as a jiu-jitsu coach. So John one time told me the biggest reason people quit jiu-jitsu is because of boredom. They get bored, right? And typically the reason a jiu-jitsu practitioner gets bored is that the coach fails to offer a fresh perspective to the student on certain things. Now, with weightlifting, as we know, there's only a handful of exercises that are really, truly worth your time, right? So while in jiu-jitsu, there are so many different ways that as a coach, I can add variety and intrigue, right? Into a practice and introduce like a new way of doing a technique, or not a new way, but a fresh perspective on a technique. You know, with squatting, deadlifting, pressing, bench pressing, you're basically saying the same thing over and over and over.
No, that's what we're preaching. We're actually saying there's one efficient way to do this. Whereas you're saying, hey man, you can't kick a brown belt's ass, but I can show you this new dismount from the guard that will help you in your blue belt life or whatever it is. And that's great. No, that's great. Like, yeah, like it's almost like we generally like to say feature, not bug. And strength training, it's like, nah, the feature is you get stronger. The bug is it's not exciting. Like that's all it is.
How do you, I guess the only way around that is to start pretty much making up random exercises and coming up with all like these types of functional training, right?
Yeah, no, what I generally do, and then we have to ask you a couple specific questions that we also always ask on this podcast. But what I think is what I try to do is say, okay, Placido, you deadlifted 450, but you also gained 30 pounds. What's your goal? And you're like, well, I weigh 230. I want to weigh 200. And I say, okay, let's see if we can deadlift 450 your best at 200, right?
Okay.
So you kind of make people approach it from a different way, because most people, when they lift weights, this is just a fact, they gain weight because if your physical output goes, most people I coach, if your physical output goes up, your caloric intake goes up. So they gain weight. And then you start to look at those kind of things like, hey, yeah, you did this great weight, but you also said you wanted to be 10 pounds lighter. Let's focus on 10 pounds lighter. But it's different, right? Like it's even then, and even for me, right? I bench something I benched 380, and then I bench something close to it, but at a lower body weight. I'm like, my best is 380, right? Whereas in like your world, it's like, well, yeah, I was lighter, I was heavier, I was stronger, I was weaker, but I was a 4-stripe white belt. Now I'm a blue belt.
Yeah.
Right? And it like feels like an achievement. And that's a huge thing. And we've actually played around with that in the gym. Like, hey, do we give someone a t-shirt? Do we give them a thing? But it's just different. Like, cause there's not a system right? I mean, there is a system, there's a methodology of how to do the lifts, but there's not like if someone says this, you'll get it to it. And maybe we need to come up with that. Like, hey, if you perform your squat technique this good, doesn't matter if you're a 60-year-old woman, like you can clearly do the squat and you're progressing. You are a black E-coded Strength Co 45 or whatever the word is, right?
So one time, there was like this very, very wealthy man that hired me to go teach jujitsu to him in the Bahamas. Great guy.
Tell me more about Sam
Mark
Bankman-Friedman.
No.
So he was an absolutely super cool guy. I love spending time with him. His name's Lyndon. Great guy, great person to be around. Also, like, when you get to spend time around people who have achieved like a very high level of anything in life, this guy has achieved a very high level of running businesses, right? Running multiple businesses. And so, you spend time around those type of people, you try to absorb little nuggets here and there. And I remember one time he was explaining to, so he's like, his niche, one of his niches is fashion. He owns a lot of different like fashion brands, right? And so he was telling me how sometimes in fashion, what's actually cool is not necessarily what's also marketable, right? So there's what's cool and there's what's marketable, all right? If you just go with what's marketable, then sometimes as a person with actual, like, an actual designer with good taste, it's bland to you. Like, you're not really following your passion. You're just trying to sell a bunch, right? If you try to go with what's actually cool, the masses just don't see that yet. Like, the vision isn't there yet. And they're not going to buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're not going to make the money. So he was telling me, in the fashion world, the magic or the magic formula or the gold is struck when the two can meet. When what's marketable is also what's fashionable, right? And he was telling me
BJJ meets strength training. I got it, Placido. I get what you're saying. I'm picking
Well, what
it
he
up.
was telling me was, in jiu-jitsu, oftentimes you have good jiu-jitsu and then you have marketable jiu-jitsu. The two are not always the same, right? There's a lot of marketable jiu-jitsu that you'll see out there that make people feel good, but the jiu-jitsu friggin' sucks, right? Yeah. And then you have high quality jiu-jitsu, but unfortunately, whoever's teaching it, whoever's like giving that product hasn't yet mastered how to market that product. Right? So they can't necessarily make as much money as this guy over here without saying names, right? What the challenge he gave to me was, he was like, if you can find a way to make your product marketable and meet in the middle, like, I understand, like, you have a standard. I think, like, dude, you could probably like find a way to make a lot of money. So I'm still trying to figure that out, but that's what he told me. And the reason I'm telling you that is, just to encourage you, maybe you can find a way to make strength training somehow more marketable and like meet that middle ground, strike that gold. I don't know.
That's why I try to train your mom for a while. Go ahead, Trey.
Quick question. I know we're kind of running low on time, so I'll make it quick. So, kind of like Grant, know nothing about jiu-jitsu. Let's say someone is brand new to it, wants to get into it. And what I've learned from this conversation is that not all gyms are built the same. What's like a red flag if I'm walking into a gym and like, hey, I want to start at this new gym. I want to try it out. Like, what's something that if I hear or see something, I'm like, okay, I got to find another one.
So a lot of people are probably going to find this really funny when I say this, but it's the truth. And I can say this because the person who said it does not give a you-know-what of what you think about him. And that's Gordon Ryan, all right? I remember one time Gordon told me, he was like, typically these days, the higher the rank of the person, the more they suck, right? So if I walk into a gym and it's like a red and black belt with 6 stripes on his belt, I know for a fact the guy sucks at jiu-jitsu. So long story short, to answer your question, if you walk into a gym and you see a belt that has like red and black all over it and the guy's been doing jiu-jitsu for like 60 years, probably go to a different gym.
Okay, good to know.
That's good. That's
Yeah, it's
good.
outdated probably.
I'm going to strong brown belt.
Yeah. I want a 4-stripe white belt. That's what.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I'm going to Jordy's gym.
I'm going to BJ's.
Hey, link in the description. We're taking new signups today. Yeah. Placido's teaching it. I'm not going to show up actually.
Jeff, I know my cousin's a little unorthodox, but you think you can get him for a good okay?
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You're pretty close, and you were like, okay. So we just got to just like dig deep, try to get like a real kind of like raspy voice, and give us like a okay.
There you go.
That's a nice one.
That's
I like
pretty
that.
good.
I like that. I like that.
Just nailed
All
it.
right, so
First go.
So Trey, your job now is to. I assume Placido's listened to 30 episodes in a row.
Have you listened to one?
Tell him about BW, and like he can give his ad read in Spanish for all I care. Like
Oh, that would be actually, yeah. I think that actually
it might be good for the Puerto Ricans, because the truth of the matter is, if you're in Puerto Rico, you're an American colony. What is it, Placido?
Puerto Ricans are
Colony.
Territory. Yeah, colony, territory, same thing. Sorry, I've been watching Killers of the Flower Moon, and I'm totally out of the zone right now. I'm like trying to learn
typical
about
white
this company.
supremacist conquers different nations and doesn't even know how to refer to them.
Yeah, okay, territory.
Listen to me.
But BW tax could help them. So
When-
You still
Why don't you
pay
prep
taxes. All right. So
and explain to him that we always do these.
Gotcha.
things.
Yeah. So as Grant's touched on before, you probably listened to an episode or two, but every time we got a guest on, we have a sponsor. We had many people want to be a sponsor, but we only picked one. That's BW Tax out of Greenville. Great guy, better at taxes. So what we have everybody do is we have them do an impromptu ad read. So we're going to spit some facts at you, and then you got to give, the floor is yours. You can go as long as you want, short as you want, take it any direction you want to, but it's just an impromptu ad read. And I'll say it like I usually do it, and the bar's set pretty low, but we have pretty good faith in you. So we'll go around the room.
Jeff?
We'll spit a couple facts about BW Tax, and then you can hit us with your bed impromptu ad read.
BW, the letter B and the letter W.
Bravo Whiskey. BW Tax.
Okay.
So, BW Tax located in South Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina. But just because he's in Greenville, he can do taxes. You don't have to be in Greenville or South Carolina. You can do taxes anywhere.
Okay.
I go next. Like he went to high school in Acton, Mass. He's a huge mass hole, but he was kind of fed up with Massachusetts state laws, and so he relocated himself to South Carolina. But he can do taxes anywhere. You're in Puerto Rico, you're in the territory.
I like it.
He's there for you, Jordy.
Pretty sure he's never done jiu-jitsu, but he always answers the phone when you call.
Jeff.
Okay.
He's an expert at like the ins and outs and all the craziness that the government has created with tax laws and stuff like that. Like he knows how to navigate all those like difficult situations, and him and his team are gonna get you the best return to get that money back in your pocket.
Hey,
So
he's a
Plaza,
great small
go
businessman. Yeah. You get a good family feel.
So Plaza, we always give the listener a option if they want to hear an example. We kind of think a little less of them if they take an example, but we can play you an example, or you can just let it ride.
I'm good. I'm let it ride.
Let it ride, baby.
Okay.
All
So the floor is yours.
Action.
All right. BW Tax. As a Massachusetts resident, I'm absolutely sick and tired of our lesbian governor. She's taken every dollar out of my pocket. BW Tax has helped me avoid and bypass every single little way that Uncle Sam has tried to wrangle me and leave my lifeless body and my kids without any food. Thank you, BW Tax. I will be using you for my whole life.
Taxation with
I went off the cuff.
representation, baby.
Hey,
Listen. It was a
Boston
little
Tea
rocky.
Party,
It was
am
a
I
little
right?
rocky. I went off the cuff.
It's spicy,
Sounds
baby.
good.
I like it.
It's a beautiful
I
thing.
felt it. I felt the energy.
Yeah, I felt it. So Plaza, at this point, hey, first I want to thank you for coming on. You shared a lot of insight. We took you long. We took you longer than most guests, but you're my primo, so you get that. But I do know that when we drop this in our Slack channel, if you want to join our Slack channel, it's $29 a month. The link's in the show notes. Placido manages the BJJ channel. So I do know that the guys there will love it. I do know that when I post it on X, the people will love it. And I also know that when I post on Instagram, people know who you are. So, but we also reach a different crowd than you might. And we probably reach people in Massachusetts. I hope so. I tell them I'm a Celtics fan every day that I can. So if you wanted this to profit your business, Trey, how often can you cough? It's like once every 5 minutes. It's so great.
Wow.
But no, like tell us about your gym. Tell us about your Instagram. Tell us about your YouTube. Any place you want people to go, now's your chance. There's 2 people listening. One name's Audrey and one name's Carl, but they'll go and follow you.
Okay. Wait, Uncle Carl heard what I just said. I need to repent.
Yeah, I don't think he makes it that long, but your Aunt Audrey does.
Okay. Aunt Audrey, I'm so sorry. I want to say I didn't mean what I said, but I'm a sinner and I meant it.
Okay, go ahead. Tell us where to find you.
If you're in Massachusetts or New England and you want to get some serious jiu-jitsu training in, definitely hit us up. 5 Stones Jiu-Jitsu on Instagram at 5 Jiu-Jitsu Stones Jiu-Jitsu. You can hit me up on Instagram too at Placido Santos, PlaciSantos on Instagram. I have a YouTube channel as well. If you're not necessarily in Massachusetts or New England and you just want to learn some jiu-jitsu, that's been growing pretty steadily. That's Placido Santos. Just type in my name, jiu-jitsu on YouTube, and you'll be able to find me as well. And shoot me a DM if you're interested in visiting the gym. I'll answer it, no problem.
All right. Say something in Spanish before we leave.
Okay, esto fue el OK Podcast. Espero que se lo disfrutaron. Hasta luego, mi gente.
Something about this podcast was okay, but I'll see you later. Hit me up.
See you later, my people.
Oh, my people. Yeah, mi gente. Mi gente. Yeah,
mi gente,
Bad Bunny song. All right, you got to hang up so we can close out the podcast. But
okay,
thanks for
adios.
coming on, how do you say good dude in Spanish? Bueno
dude.
Muchacho.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
What's
Good
guy?
dude.
What's guy? in
Hombre?
Spanish?
Muchacho? That's like
What-
friend.
I like muchacho. Bueno muchacho. But
Bueno.
let's just give it to the listeners in English. Jeff, go ahead.
He's a good dude.
Good dude.
Good dude.
Good dude.
We need to get that on the button.
Ooh, we do need a
Yeah,
good
we
dude
need a
button.
good dude
That's
button.
good.
All right. So Puerto Rico in the house.
Puerto Rico.
Spicy.
Yeah.
I like it.
What an ad read.
Do you do taxes in Puerto Rico?
No,
feel like it's a tax haven, right?
Apparently, it's not a colony. I thought we left. I thought we left London for taxation without representation, but apparently it's a
I know there's
territory.
no capital gains
Ah.
tax.
I do know that. I know, yeah, a lot of people go down there, like, yeah,
Jake
I
got
Paul's down
clients.
there.
like to get down
I
there.
got clients. I got Bitcoin clients.
Oh, I can imagine.
I
checks
got
out.
Bitcoin clients. Yeah, they go to Dorado, El Dorado.
El Dorado.
Yeah.
City of Gold.
Can I go on a little movie rant? Which I know I'm not the movie guy,
100%.
but okay. Killers of the Flower Moon. You guys seen it?
Yeah,
No.
it's a good movie.
Interesting take, Jeff. No, it's interesting because it's 3.5 hours long and I'm 2 hours and 15 minutes into it.
Yeah.
And so like, I haven't actually like, is Leonardo actually killing his wife or is he just being dumbfounded? Don't spoil it, Trey. But
Impressed for
made
watching
me
it.
really, after driving through South Dakota, made me really want to like dig into Native Americans and their history here. Dead serious. Not a joke.
Yeah.
Good movie though. Scorsese through and through.
Was there a question with it or was it just?
So you have seen it, Trey?
Yes, I have seen it. Yeah.
Well, you're from Texas. I know what you think. Jeff, you've seen it?
I have not seen it.
Okay. I'd be curious your takes.
So apparently he's wanted to make that movie like that was like one of the since he started directing, I think he's wanted to make that movie, and so
It's interesting. It's
or whenever that
interesting.
book came out.
Yeah, that's Summer of the Empire Moon is the book. So it's different. The title.
I think you're thinking of two different books, dude.
I don't think
Some of the
I'm
Empire
wrong
Moon.
at
That's the about the Cherokee, right?
all. Are you trying to say the Cherokees and Osages are different?
It's about
I'm
like the
kidding.
Cherokees
I'm
in
kidding.
Texas, right?
Is it different? I thought they were the same. So Summer of the Empire Moon is different from Killers of the Flower Moon?
Yes.
Yeah, some of the Empire
Oh.
Moon is about the Cherokee in Texas specifically,
Okay.
and then Killers of the Flower Moon is about
It's
What's
about Oklahoma and Oklahomans taking
yeah,
over the Indians.
correct, yeah, and
Basically.
how they
from what
found
I've seen
oil
so
up
far.
there, yeah,
Yep. Okay. So two different books.
two different books, both good.
Two
So
books.
basically, is your moon a flower and empire
Exactly.
determines your fate?
That's
It's interesting though. It's an interesting movie. I'm really enjoying it. It should be a 5-part
Mini
small
series
on Netflix. Yeah,
Miniseries.
it
Yeah.
should definitely be that. But I do like it. I've turned it into a 5-part myself. But
There you
That's
go.
probably smart.
yeah, it's good.
Get your fives back.
Get your
Jeff-
fives back. Everything's 5.
Everything.
If we're on movies, Jeff told me to buy one. I still haven't watched it yet. But what was the one with the motorcycle
Oh, the bike riders.
bike riders? You like that,
That's good.
right?
It was
Mad
good.
Max.
No,
Kinda.
yeah, it is.
Same character or
Tom
same
Hardy
dude. Yeah,
and God,
Wait,
what's
it really is the
Masters of
same
Air.
guy?
yeah, Mad
Yeah,
Max.
yeah.
It's Tom Hardy's and Mad Max. Yeah, you're not far off. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
And what's the other guy? He was in Masters of the Air.
The
Austin
guy that
Butler.
was super cool and that just
Austin
always
Butler.
said
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
yep.
yeah.
The guy plays Elvis and now talks like Elvis.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently that was good. It was really good.
Okay,
Well,
Recommend it.
it's been movie review.
Trey, you got to bring us
Yeah.
down.
All right, we ready?
We're hovering. Yeah, we're
What
hovering.
ready.
episode
032.
032, baby.
3-2? No bingo here, baby. Of the
Verified.
Okay.
podcast. I'd like to thank our guests, Placido.
Placido.
Yeah,
Placido.
Got to get the right emphasis on the right syllable. Man, great conversation. Good dude, as we talked about. Excited to check more of his stuff out online. I'd like to thank our sponsor, BW Tax. Great guy, better at taxes. Keeping the lights on. As always, we're powered by the Strength Co. Love seeing the Slack channel. Links below. Come watch on YouTube, like and subscribe. Leave us a comment. Love to interact with you there as well. But best way to find us, go to www.theokpodcast.com. Find all the links there.
You're
I miss
getting,
anything?
you're getting so good at this that like it's not even funny anymore.
Yeah, it was
It's
actually
written
pretty dang good.
on the wall back here. I just read
Yeah,
it.
you-
straight
That's
up.
You haven't,
you had
Yeah.
Abby painted on the wall.
Yeah, I
you
just
haven't
pinned it on the
mentioned-
wall.
you haven't mentioned my face in weeks. You're just like,
Oh, dude,
Right.
that's right. Yeah,
Or Truth Social, you know.
yeah.
True social. We need to get back to that.
Parlor's
Grant-
back, I heard.
Grant gave me a hard time. He said I was going too long on it, so I gotta shorten it up.
Ah, yeah,
Got to get it tight.
yeah.
Dialed.
Wow.
But
So
have you
many.
seen that,
That's what
Coach?
that's what she said there. But I'll just let them all slide. I feel like Placido took everything as right as he could, and we're good there. We've covered all that. No, that's it. Thanks for listening. We're a week behind. We're going to be a week behind for the month of August. We'll see you next time.